You should address me as my king.
Hi everyone, it's Blue. Make sure you like and subscribe and go follow me on my Twitch and my other YouTube channel. Those links are down below. Also my Patreon, where I have more content on there that I don't post here.
Ghost that never lies. Do you see the culprit or culprits in this courtroom today?
He
You
points
do?
to him.
Yeah. Well, would you kindly point him or them out for this court? Don't point at me, you jackass!
Today I'm going to be reacting to another House of Dragon episode. Picking the least rotten one.
The traitor dragon Maylis!
The vibe doesn't seem what they would have expected.
When they realized we won the battle.
I thought the dragons was gods. Slain at Brook's Rest by your king!
It's just me.
What? I would think she would be sad. Oh my goodness. Please don't start screaming.
Is my son going to die?
I'm afraid I cannot say. Someone will have to rule in his stead.
It's quite the opening. Aemon kind of had a smile, a smirk at the very least. It definitely didn't seem too hesitant or distraught on taking down his brother in order to take out Maylis and Rhaenyra, or Rhaenys and Maylis. Definitely jumped at the opportunity regardless of his brother being in the middle of it. Maybe could even argue it was a plus for him because he's kind of known all along his biggest hater or his biggest enemy has kind of been his brother, honestly. You could argue it's the other side, but the other side directly doesn't really affect him that much, at least hasn't lately. Him growing up, I mean, him losing the eye, sure it was Luke, but I think that whole thing was triggered or started by his own brother hating on him.
What happened?
We took the castle.
The king. Sir Criston, what befell him?
His grace fought valiantly.
And Aemond? What was his part in this?
I could not say.
Our largest dragon has been killed. Dusken down. And Rook's Rest are gone. Still have no ground army but the one we hope that Damon will raise.
Do you take issue with me, Sir Alfred?
Right, like right in front of her.
It is merely that the gentler sex, heretofore, has not been much privy to the strategies of battle.
You've seen no more battles than I have.
Oh, snap.
But Vhagar is depleted after such a hard-fought battle. Can strike King's Landing before their dragon is recovered.
Then I myself must do it.
Why the crown? It's out of the question.
It's so stressful too, because how could you feel justified just sitting there after Rhaenys fought for you and died? And her dragon. Your guys' side, dragon, largest battling dragon, who has actually seen battles before, died fighting for you. And of course, you're the queen, so logically it makes sense. Don't do anything. You can't be the one to go out there and do something. I mean, look at Aegon. He just went out there and he's on the brink of death. And Aemon's just stepping up to take his place. If something were to happen to her, I think it would be a lot harder to try to convince everybody that her son then deserves it. I mean, it's between her, who is actually named heir, and this side, who has already claimed it. It's at least a little bit more even right now. It would just make things a lot more difficult for them to actually win it back if something happened to Rhaenyra.
Where are you going?
To Harrenhal. To treat with the Damon.
And you think you will tame him?
when the Queen herself could not.
I'm here being forced to play the coddled princeling. It's humiliating,
She
Bela.
only protects you.
I can sit still no longer. The Freys. They control the crossing at the Twins. I will treat with the Freys to secure it.
I get that it probably should be obvious at this point, or extremely obvious if you've read the books, which I haven't. But I do like the relationship between Bela and him. It just seems very... I don't know how to describe it. Seems very nice. Just calm. It's nice that a lot of characters in this show, not even only on one side, want to be the ones on the front lines to prove that they're not just sending men out to go and do their bidding. I mean, Rhaenyra, the queen, the king, the princeling, as he put it, all want to go out there and earn their name or title or their spot.
You have no choice but to submit. And the need to me. Or your house burns.
We choose fire.
Horses have no idea.
They made their choice. You should have indulged them.
I need them alive.
They are pig-headed, intransigent.
They would rather burn than succumb. Exactly the kind of men I need. It may yet be possible, I think, for both of us to achieve our ends.
They are unyielding in battle, but every man has a weakness.
There are things the crown itself must not be seen to do. Show them your worst.
I am your servant, your grace.
Persuade.
Over the centuries, many and more armies have broken themselves against my bloody gate. The Eyrie itself is impregnable, unless, of course, we're descended upon from the sky.
You promised the Queen Rhaenyra 15,000 swords.
In return for protection.
The dragons will grow. In time.
I don't have time. I mislike feeling powerless.
So do I.
This will be your chamber. I'll expect you at supper this evening. My sympathies for the death of your grandmother.
I have to genuinely wonder, when did she actually find out? Because that seems as if the news could have just been dropped right there. I fear that makes me so dumb. Of course she already knew. This is a separate conversation. She wouldn't find out this way. But why would she not find out this way? Would she get her own individual raven? I'm hopeful of her getting her own dragon. Plus they do grow very quickly. In Game of Thrones, we saw that each season they were so much bigger than the last, but because things are progressively happening in each episode even, you can't really wait a whole season for the dragon to grow from like a dog to a horse.
The way they spoke at my small council today. They speak around me, not to me.
You are your father's chosen successor.
They did not prepare me to fight.
Will you send to him?
For too long I have looked to him for strength. If I must be supplicant to my own husband, what does that make me?
Kristen Cole made a mistake. Parading a dragon's head through the streets, the people see an ill omen. They whisper to each other that when Viserys lived, there was peace. They are 1,000 living in the shadow of the Red Keep and forgotten for too long. There is more than one way to fight a war.
Socially? That is very important, and maybe even something that women have had to turn to a lot longer than men have had to turn to. Men have been taught to fight with swords and weapons and go to war, and it's very physical war and battle strategy, whereas since in this example she even said herself, I may have been chosen by my father, but because I was still a woman, I was taught history and books and stories and all of these things that don't actually really matter when you're in battle or in war. And because all of these men around a table who probably do actually know how to pick up a sword and fight, even with lack of experience, know that I would never be able to, and the skill and the knowledge for it, there is clearly a difference between us, and probably a lack of respect for it. I mean, you look at her, and although they may be loyal to her and think she deserves the throne and would fight for her, there's a little bit of, sit down, we got this covered. I'm happy that she was able to prove her loyalty to...
Did your grandmother ever tell you of the night she claimed Melees?
My father was furious. His own mother's dragon, but bent her neck to Rhaenys.
You are very like her in some ways, and with her gone, I must rely on you. Did you give this to your grandsire? I do not wish to stand alone.
Damon. You were always the strong one. Your brother had great love in his heart. But he lacked your constitution. If only you'd been born first. My favorite son.
Is the duck not to your liking, Your Grace?
I believe Willem Blackwood is bringing House Bracken to heel. We must ready the castle to receive a great host.
You seem sure of this?
It is a matter of showing them whom it behooves them to follow. How does the work here progress?
The roof alone has needed tending since the reign of Rhaenys, and the storerooms and the Wailing Tower. I venture there are smiths and armourers to be found.
Pass their huntsmen to bring us meat and wood.
There is, of course, the matter of payment.
Harrenhal is my command. I shall guarantee the payment myself. You should address me as my king, what you call the husband of the queen.
The king?
There it is, then.
Consort.
Last bit seems unnecessary, don't you think?
Yes, like, so awkward. Weren't they having that little back and forth spat? I was really worried in that one episode he was going to slip out Your Grace for the 3rd time, and he was just going to die right there. Liz's head.
His Grace suffered grievous burns over much of his body.
Has he woken?
I must admit, I'm not sure he will ever wake. Our king's fate lies with the gods now.
A king cannot rule in his sleep. Now we must name a regent to take his place. Until he recovers.
Did you have a candidate in mind, Your Grace?
I myself served in this role with my husband.
The obvious choice is his immediate successor, Prince Aemon.
Aemon is a fearsome Dragonrider. His skill is best employed in the field, but my experience is needed here. Lord Larys.
Your Grace, it must be Prince Aemon. What would you say if in response to Rhaenyra's crowning we raised up a woman of our own? Sir Kristen, what say you?
Aemon is the next in line. Must be him.
They have grown weary of the sea snake's blockade.
So have we all.
What are your tasks? We shall meet again at first light.
It's actually a little difficult to not feel bad for Alicent. Because regardless of what kind of person she is, or if you agree with all of her decisions, in that moment, she had to have felt so low and just so betrayed.
There is no food. We must get out.
For all we know, every road leads into the Dragon's Teeth.
We should make for Templeton. My brother will have room. Have you been paid for those machines you were forced to build?
The king has promised payment.
The king has lied.
I feel so bad for her.
Presumed you'd be here.
Aemon is the next in line. It is the order of things.
You know what he is. Has your loyalty faded, or does it flourish only at night and flee the sunrise like a moth?
What I saw at Rook's Rest.
What did you see?
Their armor melted. There were men walking, they were on fire.
We have given the war to the dragons.
The Dragonrider should lead us.
So you cast me aside?
What we must do now is terrible. Is this who you are, Alicent?
You did not ask to be spared. And I did not give you leave to speak my name.
Oh, they're all trying to leave?
By order of Aemon Targaryen, to return to your homes! You want me?
Our Lord Grover Tully has not declared for Rhaenyra. Jason Lannister is marshalling to the west. We need to check him before he reaches River Run.
Our hesitance does not lie in Rhaenyra as queen. Our fear lies in Vhagar. Do you offer us your protection?
I do, and the protection of my uncle.
And Damon consented to this?
What do you want?
Larys Strong has been relieved of his castle.
You want Harrenhal?
Well, this is
For
going
that.
to be awkward.
My mother will want more than your crossing.
What does her grace desire?
Bent knees.
Hopefully Rhaenyra wouldn't be disappointed in this interaction. I'm already worried about all the scenarios where this interferes with what Damon's doing and what his plans are, because he's trying to step up and do things for his mother, which is admirable, especially since Damon may or may not be doing something for the throne. But first of all, it's kind of taking a very long time, and he's at a place that can't really offer that much help with this war. I mean, they don't even offer an army. He's having hallucinations there. And how many episodes has he gone? So at least he's kind of making moves. If anything, you could argue that he's making way more progress than Damon is, because he's crossing now and had them agree to bend the knee.
You're born to wield a sword, but not so much an axe.
There are others who would sit idle and wait for their claims to be brought to them. Let it not be said that Damon Targaryen failed to dirty his hands in this war.
I hear strange things from Brackenland, from Stonehenge, and Lambswold, and Moray. Cries of anguish. Children being taken from their mothers, men coming home, their wives carried away. These are crimes against the innocent.
Brackens had their chance to do as I required.
Is that the kind of army you would raise? And who hate you?
Once they agree to serve me, I'll treat them fairly.
And once again, in the name of power, it's the weak and the women who must endure. I'm sure your tactics are, after all, approved by the Queen.
She cannot succeed, Alice. The people who support her will not be led by her. They look to a man for strength. When I take King's Landing, Rhaenyra is welcome to join me there and take her place by my side.
A pity, don't you think, that you never knew your mother?
Okay.
The Blackwoods have overwhelmed the Brackens. House Bracken is yours.
Ugh, so he does kind of just want to do things on his own. Technically, with the same result, him being king and Rhaenyra joining him as queen. Technicality, she's queen, but he's the one who got it. Kind of just a weird dynamic.
I was surprised when they said you were here.
My castle is a tomb.
Queen Rhaenyra wishes to name you Hand.
Even the death of my wife does not content her. I should not ask enough of my house.
Rhaenys was not only your wife. She was a Targaryen princess.
She died.
She died as she would have wished to die. The way my mother chose, and the way I myself wish to meet my end. I will see Rhaenyra ascend the Iron Throne, as Rhaenys wished. You yourself may do as you see fit.
I would make you my heir.
I am blood and fire. Driftmark must pass to salt and sea.
That was a really good line. I am blood and fire. Driftmark must be passed to salt and sea. It does feel as if she's hinting to something that she knows, but also gently saying, I myself feel I belong here.
You were correct in saying our best hope of an army is with Damon. I wish you to go to Harrenhal.
Are you removing me from your council?
You and your house served my father well, and I know you will never accept the Hightower claim.
Not while I live, Your Grace.
I ask you to reason with him, find out his state of mind, and his intentions. Whether he means to raise a host for me or for himself.
He would not dare.
Go now with haste. I'll send good men to see to your safety.
Have you any message for him?
Tell him I would much like to finish our last conversation.
Seemed to have gone well.
The Riverlords have come, Your Grace. They wish an audience.
Is there some reason you feel free to wake a king in his bed?
The sacred steps on Bracken lands were looted and burned.
As were the fields and farms.
The Brackens were given their chance. They would not see reason.
The Blackwoods have exploited the war for the crown to visit atrocities.
These beasts proudly carried the banner of House Targaryen.
A terrible war is being fought in these lands. Have you looked after our girls?
We should have expected nothing more from a man who ordered the slaughter of a child in his mother's arms.
Dragon or no, we shall not raise our banners for a tyrant.
Oh no.
Move along, lass.
I have an errand for the Lady Missaria.
I thought she was dead.
I must see an old friend.
Okay, that's good. I thought she would get hurt.
Elinda.
Oh.
Was it worth the price?
It's very nice to see that the guard's kind of almost in on it, and very interesting to see that it's connected to the lady who's connected directly to Aemon. I thought it would be with someone who knows someone who knows someone, maybe a whole group of people, and they spread the word. Almost essentially gossip, and society has to talk and word has to spread. But no, it's very closely connected. She has to talk to Little Red, who talks to this guy who lets her in, who talks directly to a woman who's extremely close with Aemon, who's extremely vulnerable with her. Is kind of interesting. Rhaenyra seems to be catching on or worrying at a very good time that she should be catching on and worrying about what Damon's intentions actually are. As they're kind of revealed more clearly to us, they're more clearly coming out as an insecurity that she's worried about, and now even has to send someone to check on.
Visenya.
Vhagar's first rider. And the first wielder of Dark Sister. What is the mood at the Twins?
He wishes for the phrase to be granted Harrenhal.
I'm proud of you, Jace. You've done our cause a great service.
Then why do you look angry?
You chafed at being prevented from action. Imagine, my lord, I'm a Dragonrider as well. Sending others to fight and be felled in my name.
You are the queen. Well, harm can come to
And
you.
you are my son, and I did not give you leave to go.
But who else is there? Rhaenys is dead and Baelor cannot bear the burden alone.
Your dragon is young. Will you fly before Vhagar, as Luke did? Aemon is not here. Aemon now rules in King's Landing.
Is Aegon dead?
Dead or alive, we have no answer for Vhagar. But if all else fails, it is I who must fight. Syrax is quicker.
So was Meleys.
Meleys fought 2 dragons, and one of them is slain. I need dragons.
You have 2 large enough to stand against Vhagar, Umethor and Silverwing.
Yes, and if only they had riders, none could stand against me.
There are those of our line who never ruled, married into other noble houses, their children born with other names. Blood would be thin.
The dragon will only accept a dragon lord to ride it.
Valyrian histories, written to gild us in glory.
Are you suggesting we put a Malister on a dragon?
It's better than death and defeat.
There are records here, surely, of our line.
There could be scores of them.
That was an interesting end to the episode. It wasn't really expected. I didn't read the books, but I do think sometime around when Game of Thrones was happening, I looked into the storyline of some of the dragons, and thank goodness they were all so complicated that I don't remember really any of them. I remember some of the names and some of the colors. I think one of the ones that I haven't heard about being in the show yet, so maybe it hasn't come up, or maybe I forgot the name. I thought it was Morning something, and then I thought it was maybe Sunfire, but it's like a pink dragon. I don't know, now I'm just rambling and I'm getting off topic, but I think the episode was good. I will watch the next one, hopefully a lot quicker than this one. I'm so sorry again that this episode's so late, and all of the other things are very late to YouTube. Had to take some time off. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this reaction, and I will see you all next time very soon. The next one will not be a week from now. Hopefully tomorrow. Bye.